Welcome back to the Morning Beat. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're joined again by a dear friend of the show and our Pride Icon, Todrick Hall. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, it's so good to see both of you.
I'd
And we're
also like to
celebrating.
say, go ahead.
Oh
Go ahead.
no, yeah, we're celebrating something else today. I mean, Michaela, I'll let you make the announcement.
Okay, honey. Well, I've never met a cover girl I didn't like.
Oh,
And
stop.
this cover
Stop.
girl, honey,
Oh,
you hit newsstands today. You are on the cover of Billboard magazine, Pride Month, during probably one of the most historical times of our lives. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you so much. I'm so I can't believe this has happened. When I got the phone call, I was obviously ecstatic and chose to agree immediately. It wasn't even something I had to think about. But the world has changed so much in the past month, as you obviously know. And now I am just like the most proud I could have ever been. I don't think that there's ever been a more important time in my lifetime to grace a cover like this and to talk about the things that we're going to be talking about in the article. So I'm very excited.
Listen, Todrick, I don't think anything happens by chance, and you don't leave much to chance in your life. You have taken life by the horns. If you could go back and talk to Todrick, like maybe right after American Idol, right after the industry was telling you there was no place for you, and if you could give him a piece of advice, what would you have said to him? Or would you have said anything?
I think that I would say keep going, keep pushing, and also find the time to really value the things that make you different. Because at that time, I kept trying to figure out ways that even though I knew I was out of the box and over the top and extra, as some people would call it, I was trying to find a way to fit into the mold and make myself sound more like Chris Brown and try to figure out ways that I could be more masculine. And I've never felt more free. When I got eliminated from that show, I remember thinking, I'm not upset that I got eliminated from the show. I'm upset that I got eliminated for being someone who I wasn't, for not going out with a bang and doing things the Todrick way. And throughout my life, every single time I've seen a huge, massive piece of success or a chapter in my life that felt like this feels like a lane that I have created and driven down by myself because it was a lane only I could drive in. Every time that has happened, it's been when I followed my gut instinct and when I did things the way that I have been wired by the universe or God or whoever I believe in that hour to do. And so I would just say, trust your gut, believe in yourself, and know this is going to be a painful ride, but you're going to change a lot of lives.
I'm just going to say this one thing.
Yes, sir.
On his best day, in his most masculine moment, Chris Brown doesn't hold a candle to you. You to me are masculine in ways that are sexy and empowering and so inspirational.
Yeah.
AJ, I can't take all this.
Listen, I'm just trying to do an interview here. If y'all need some time, okay. I'm just trying to get my job done, honey. Listen, you are very powerful, and you've always really kind of spoken for the Black community, no matter how controversial people thought that was, particularly your song Water Guns, which talks about really what we're dealing with right now. A lot of white people are saying, wow, I'm so shocked that this is still happening. Clearly, you've been knowing it's been happening. Does it sort of offend you how tone deaf people kind of have been towards this police brutality?
It doesn't offend me because I think that when you've grown up in America and you've seen this and experienced this, I can tell. And the algorithm on social media is such a crazy thing because you can feel like something is really moving and shaking the community and the world and your industry. And then somebody else that's sitting next to you with a lighter skin color and lighter eyes and curlier, blonder hair would literally say that they've never heard about it at all because it shows us what we want to see. And this is the first time in my entire life that I feel like people are being forced to see things that they didn't want to see, and they can choose to be offended. They can choose to pretend that it doesn't exist, but at least they are having to in some way, shape, or form acknowledge it. And it doesn't offend me, but it shines a huge light. If you are in a position where you could not know that that happens, then that's all the evidence that you ever needed to know that you are a person who benefits from white privilege.
Yeah.
As we celebrate Pride season, in the midst of the Black Lives Matter movement, in this historic moment in history, what do you hope comes out of this movement that changes the world for all eternity?
I hope that everybody, even in their own ways, because we talk about these huge, massive things that we could do, but racism is something that we don't have to figure out. It's not coronavirus. We don't have to figure out where it comes from, how it spreads. Like, we know that people are taught this. They're carefully taught and groomed and manipulated into believing that one race is superior and that all of these stereotypes basically can be like clicked, applied to all people who look like this. And I think that that is like a really sad thing. And I think the most powerful thing that we can do as human beings is change the lives of the kids that are coming up, because they have the benefit of not having to grow up in a world where there's no diversity and no representation. You can choose to buy books for your children with Black characters and movies with Black characters and introduce them like to a world that is more diverse than just a world that looks like the cast of the Brady Bunch. And now people are realizing the importance of that, and that has like shaped their ideas of what is beautiful, what is professional, what is, what is desirable in this country. Now we can have those conversations. And most importantly, I've been telling all my friends, if you're sitting at home at a Thanksgiving dinner or watching the Super Bowl and someone says something racist, that is the moment where you can create the most positive change by stepping up and not creating an argument and like screaming at your family members, because I don't believe that that is the way change happens. But you have to say something. You have to speak up, and you have to say, that offends me. That is not okay. I don't want my kids hearing that. And that is, to me, the most powerful thing that each and every one of us can do, because anyone who says they've never heard people in their family say something racist, they either cannot hear or they are lying. I don't know.
Amanda Seales said something the other day that really made me think twice. She said, I don't want to tell you how to learn about our culture when it wasn't provided for me either. I had to really look into my own history to understand what it meant being Black. So now it's time for you to do your own. The same way she also had to learn about the Holocaust, because she just wanted to have all of that information. So I don't want to ask what advice you have for white people to educate themselves, because I think that it's up to us to now do that. But how did you learn about your own history? Did you also have to try to find it for yourself?
I have, and I've also had to learn things from keeping my ear to the streets. People on the internet have gotten me together several times, and sometimes I have to weed through the crazy emojis of Nene Leaks and things that are coming at me in a really petty way, and like try to see the overall message that people in my own community are trying to convey to me. And I have to pick which ones of those things I'm going to apply to my life and which things I'm going to let go through one ear and out the other. And I think it's so crazy that you said that to me, because I've never felt so supported by my white friends. I've gotten so many text messages from people saying like, I really want to talk to you and say I'm sorry, and I would love for you to teach me anything that you think that I should know. But it is, for any white people out there listening, it's not your Black friends' jobs who have already endured so much to figure out a way to now be your private tutor on how to be a great human being and how to look at people equally. You should already know that, because it's like a fundamental of being a human. Just don't look at someone less than you, whether that be a Mexican gardener or an Asian person that might be doing your nails or giving you a manicure, pedicure, or a Black person that you see on the street that you feel like you need to run to the other side of the street because you're afraid of what they would do to you. Treat them like you would treat the people that live in your family, the people who live in your neighborhood. And take the time. We all have time right now during this quarantine to go on Netflix, watch documentaries, watch the 13th Amendment. If you don't know how to school yourself, educate yourself, then you're not looking for those things. I think everyone can find those tools, and it's just really good information to know. It will make you, if you go into it with an open heart and without your ego, it will change your perspective on your experience as a human being living in America.
Yeah.
Todrick, one of the things I love about you, and I've known you for a few years, and I've interviewed you many times, you are so open to learning and open to growing and expanding, which of course makes you such a fantastic artist, but you're a really great interview too. You're sitting in your Disney room right now. We're seeing a lot of major corporations. Disney's in some hot water for some of their older content, as we're seeing, every major corporation right now, their entire track record is being dragged as we live in this sort of cancel culture right now. Any sort of thoughts on cancel culture first? And also, how do you, are we able to, or should we be able to accept flaws of the past once they're addressed and move forward if corporations have made the choice to do differently and do better now?
I have a very unpopular opinion about this, and so sometimes I don't necessarily speak up on it because it's a recipe for another cancellation that I don't really want to endure. But I have to just be honest, I understand the point of why cancel culture was created, and I think it was awesome because it gave the little person a voice to be able to speak up where they never had one before. But now I feel like we are basically requiring people who have a verified check next to their name to not be human, to not make mistakes, to never say anything that's off color. And also, what is appropriate right now, today, on this Zoom call could not be appropriate 2 years from now.
Yeah.
And it is our jobs as human beings. The most beautiful thing about being a human is that we're going to learn so much. I remember watching the Leaving Neverland documentary, and this is a touchy thing to talk about, but Oprah Winfrey said something really powerful in that interview, is that people like to make people be like black or white, and I mean that in a figurative way. They don't like to acknowledge that there is a huge gray area within all of us. Every single person has skeletons in their closet, things that they would not like the world to know, and horrible situations and statements in their past that
Not me.
well, except for you, you're absolutely the exception to that. But yeah, I think that you should allow people to grow. I think that there is no reason for us to go out right now and fight and make signs and hold our fist up saying no justice, no peace, and then be mad if we then get the point of it is to change minds. And if we change minds and hearts, then we shouldn't go back and look at receipts of things that happened before those hearts and minds were changed. That's how I personally feel about it. With that being said, it's a slippery slope because there are some people who will pretend to have changed their hearts and minds and put a Black Lives fist on their front door, but they will still say the evil, racist things behind those closed doors.
Yeah.
And that's not actually changing. That is just like putting on a good face. So it's a difficult slope, but I do think that we should allow people who were once homophobic to be allies. And I think we should allow people who once had racist thoughts and beliefs to be educated and to understand and embrace a new culture. And we should be championing people to do that, as opposed to giving people sentencing for a belief that it's not their fault that they believe that way. We've been groomed to believe that way. And so
I adore you.
Well, listen, we don't stand for cancel culture, but one thing that's not canceled is pride. Even in 2020, we are still very happy, out, and proud. I want to ask what pride means to you, and why is it more important in 2020 than ever? Listen, we took a journey with you with Straight Outta Oz, watching you. We've watched the relationship with your mother. I feel like on a personal level, because I've known you for a long time, but you really opened it up for the world. However, 2020 is a different year, and it's important.
Yeah. So the question is, what does pride mean to me?
Yeah.
I feel like pride, if you had asked me this when I was 16, it would have had a very different answer. But right now, pride is being able to live your fullest and truest self without holding back any of that, and feeling like you are safe to do so. I remember my first pride. I stumbled upon it accidentally in Dallas, Texas. And I remember being so overstimulated by all of the glitter and feathers and the drag queens and stuff that I had never seen before. I felt like I was in either like on an acid trip or in Wonderland or Wizard of Oz, or a mixture of both. So I loved it. But I also remember immediately being consumed with the feeling of fear that someone was going to come and shoot us down, because it was too many people that had been disenfranchised in one area together celebrating. And I was so afraid. And now sometimes I'll get chills when I'm on stage, because I see people with their kids in carriages holding up a pride flag. And it lets me know that change is coming and that we are headed in the right direction. And feeling safe to be able to be yourself, because people aren't afraid to be themselves. You see little kids, they'll put on a pair of heels. They know exactly who they are when they're in their parents' closet. They just are afraid to come out of that closet and show their parents who they are, for fear that they'll be rejected and abandoned. And pride is about being brave enough to accept who you truly are and being able to share that with the world. That's my definition of what pride is.
Todrick, I just think just the way, I have not heard a better answer, a better response to that question, as we see pride intersect with the Black Lives Matter movement. Just the word safe. People just want to feel safe. Whether you're queer or black, or queer and black, it all comes down to just feeling safe. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for that. That's so beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, we love you. Congratulations. It is on newsstands now. You are on the cover of Billboard magazine, honey. During during truly one of the most historical times of our lives. Todrick Hall, you know what you mean to me. You've also been so good to Channel Q. You come on all the time. You know you're always welcome. But thank you for speaking your authenticity as always, and we love you.
I love you too. I'm so glad that you've had me back, and I can't wait to do this a million more times.
Wait, also really quickly for our listeners, because we're still required to wear masks, they can get masks that look like your mouth.
Oh, yes.
Where can they get them?
They can go to Depop. The information is in my bio on my Instagram.
Okay.
And I'm coming out with a new airbrush 90s themed Pride collection sometime in the next week. So be checking me out on social media. I'm at Todrick on Instagram. It's a really, really fun collection that my friends and I have been collaborating on in our house. And I'm really, really excited to see it. And I want to make sure that I give you guys a piece so you can wear it one day. So I'll make sure to give you some.
And cover up these lip fillers, I think not. I love you so much. You know,
Bye,
we'll put all that
guys.
information on our website. We love you. Thank you, Toddy.
Bye. Be safe.
Love you. Okay,
You
bye,
too.
babe.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications from radio.com. While you're at it, why don't you check out some of our other great videos.